Hello, I'm Himal Hasaranga from Amuthu Iskole, and today we'll be interviewing the principal dancer of the Chithrasena Dance Academy in Narayanpitiya, and her name is Mrs. Thaji. Well, we'll be asking her a few questions based on what I've gotten. And this was actually a really good opportunity to me because I'm sort of a fan of dancing and I would really love to know more. Well, without further ado, let's get into the interview. Moving on, Miss, can you tell me about your childhood and about how you came into the world of dancing? Did you always were you a big fan, or did you come to like it recently?
So I was kind of born into it because my grandfather and grandmother, I don't know if you've heard of Guru Chithrasena and Guru Vajira. And my grandfather was one of the pioneers of Sri Lankan dance because he brought the ritual dance form from the village ritual to the modern stage. And my grandmother, Guru Vajra, was one of the first professional female dancers in Sri Lanka because even today the rituals are only performed by males. So she is one of the first females to take on dance as a profession. So starting from then my aunts Upeka and Angelika and my mother, my sisters Heshma, Umi, they are all dancers. So
yeah, it sort of gave a name for the females everywhere because usually even in some countries females aren't allowed to do anything. They're just expected to cook, do stuff around the household, and that's so. But that really gave them a voice because of we don't have that anymore.
Yes.
All countries, women are free to do anything they want.
Of course, indeed. So it's amazing that after my grandfather, actually none of the males in the family actually took on dance, but the females kind of came forward and were the ones kind of driving the whole legacy forward right now. So yeah, I was kind of born into the dance, but I have to say, just because I was born into it, didn't mean that I was forced to do it or because it was in my family or so. But I really loved to do it, and I did it because I wanted to do it, and so that's my passion, and that's what keeps me going.
That's amazing because everyone must follow their passion.
Indeed.
You can't do it because your mom says it or your dad says it. Well, it's glad to hear that you were free to do whatever you wanted.
Exactly.
Now you could be a singer or a rapper.
Yeah, so my father is Guru Chithasena's son, whereas my grandfather never forced him to become a dancer. So he played cricket and raga for Royal, and then he went on to do electronic engineering. My grandmother did try to get him to play the drum and dance a bit, but he did in his younger days. But after that, my grandfather was very sure that he didn't want to force him just because he's his son to become a dancer. So he went in a completely different direction. So.
Anyways, ma'am, how did you come to the point where you are right now? How did you come here?
It's actually because of my teachers that I'm here today, and my teachers have been all obviously members of my family, starting from my grandmother to my aunts Angelika and Upeka, who is my teacher at present also. So once I joined the dance company as a company member, she has been teaching me. So if not for all of them, and also my cousin Heshma, who's the choreographer for the company, and it's because of her work and the pieces that she choreographs that you kind of you are molded into the dancer you want to be also, because I feel it's not just enough being a good dancer, you also have to have that right person to create for you. The creation is also important to bring out the best in you. So Yeah, I think I'm here today because of all of them. Otherwise, and
Of
also,
course.
I mean, my drive to want to do it, and because Canadian dance is a very masculine and very energetic form, so you have to have a very strong mind and the will to push yourself, and so that you have to have it within you to want to push yourself all the time. So I think a combination of all of that is what has brought me here today, and definitely the blessings of my teachers.
Yeah, well, it's amazing to see how you come from a member of the company to the dance principal.
Being the principal dancer, yes. So I mean that it's just it's about how much of work you put in, basically, because also we don't perform all the time, so we have a big performance once a year, so the whole year you kind of train towards that performance, so you really have to have focus, and you have to focus your mind has to be focused on what you're doing all the time, and so that's what gives you positive results.
Oh, that was lovely. Ma'am, I would like to know how you stay fit and strong throughout your performances.
So, it's fit is definitely practice and more practice, because we practice at least 6 to 12 hours a day. So which includes like your body conditioning, and then you're teaching, and then you're rehearsing, and then you're doing technique class, so all of that put together. So definitely fit because of that, and also what you eat plays a huge role, and I'm not a foodie so I've always found it difficult to figure out my diet, and so that's always been a challenge for me from my small days. So I don't think I should comment on that on my diet really. But definitely practice and staying fit, keeping my stamina up. So those are things that I really focus on to give my best performance.
Miss, how about you describe your best performance?
My best performance? That's a bit of a difficult question, because I mean, you can never pinpoint on one performance and say this was my best, because every performance has been a life-changing experience for me. So I've learned something through each and every performance. But there have been performances which were special to me, like the memorial performance that we did for my grandfather in 2005 was very emotional, very special, because he had just passed away, and it was a very special performance. And then of course most of the performances that my cousin Heshma has conceived and directed have really been life-changing for me, because with every performance you grow as a performer, and as a person also.
Yeah.
And then we did a performance with this Indian dance company called which was a collaboration, and so that again, traveling with them, living with them. So they have a dance village in Bangalore called Nrityagram, and so all the students kind of live there together and they learn, and so that was a different experience for me, and definitely another life-changing. I changed as a dancer, as a performer, I really can't pinpoint on one performance, but again there was this piece that we did called Kweni, which was again choreographed by my cousin Heshwa, where I performed with my aunt Upeka for the first time, and it was also her last performance. So that was very special, where I kind of she was just ending as her swan song as the principal dancer of the company, and then I was stepping in as the principal dancer. So that was a very special piece that we did together. So there have been many places which were special. Again, I did a role, the Swans role, that was performed by my grandmother as a tribute to her. So again, that was a special moment.
Yeah.
So like I said, again, there's so many that I can't choose from.
Well, I'm sure all of us have that problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually curious now. Have you ever disagreed with your master or mistress? Like, also, were you one of those like good kids who were always really good, or like were you sort of a troublemaker and sort of bad?
Okay, I don't think I've ever disagreed with my teachers, or because I would get a nice shot if I did, but no, leaving that aside. But your teachers always give you advice or scold you because they want you to become better, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've always had my family, they've been, my grandmother, my aunt, they've been very strict teachers, especially with me as a family member. They've been more strict with me than with other kids because as a family member they want me to be a certain way, and my conduct has to be a certain way, and my discipline, everything. So in one sense they've been more strict with me than with other students, but I always feel like it's for my own good. So I've never taken it in a bad way, and but when it came to dance, I think I've always been very I've had like goals in my head which I wanted to reach on my own. So again, nobody really had to push me to do something. Like if my teacher asked me to do one step for like 5 minutes without stopping, I would do it. So nobody really had to say, stay down and do this and do that. Nobody had to shout at me to do something when it came to dance, but everything else you had to shout at me to get it done.
I can just say that it's the same thing here.
It's the same with you. So in that sense, I suppose I can say myself that I've been a good dance student. Just that.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know how to say this, but I am not that into dance. I like to think I am, but like, I need to know, what are the traits a dancer must have? Like a good dancer must have,
Well, it also depends on what you mean as, what you think is good and bad, and what I think is good and bad. It could be very different. When it comes to dancers, that too. But traits that a dancer should have, I feel, number one is being humble, and number two would be again being humble, I suppose, because
same as number three as well.
And number three, I would say again being humble, because learning a traditional art form is not easy, like I said before.
Yes.
Because you really it comes with many things. You have to the respect that you give your teachers, how you grasp information from them, how you
how we pay attention,
and also how you are with them, what kind of relationship you have with them. So if you are someone who always gets offended if someone screams at you or gives you some kind of advice, then it's this kind of thing is not for you, really. So I say being humble, because you have to accept the fact that you might be wrong, and accept
wrong,
that, and
right?
Correct yourself, and the humbleness to be able to do that, which I sometimes don't see in students nowadays, because I don't know what it is. There's this kind of attitude that comes with, I know everything. So that kind of attitude certainly doesn't work when you're learning an art form which is 2,500 years old. It's very, there's a
diverse.
large, there's a large body of work to learn. So you can't learn it in one day. It's not like following a course or doing an exam. It's a lifetime of learning. So you have to grasp the fact that you can't do this in one day or 2 days, or it's not like winning a competition and then you're the best dancer.
Yeah.
No, even my grandmother at 90 years of age now, she still comes to the dance school and she's still learning by watching us dance now. So she would say, what was that new step you did, or that was really good, and and you learn to read books and learn to listen to good music. So it's a huge parcel kind of thing that everything works together. So that's why I say you have to have other qualities as well, like you have to be strong, you have to be disciplined and all that. But for me, the main thing is being humble, and that kind of pushes you over one hurdle, like the biggest hurdle for me. So.
Well, that's amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I've actually done some, Latin dances and stuff. I've actually done some I performed, but there were some times where I found that the steps were hard to remember. Which leads me to my next question. Have you forgotten a step?
Yes, I have, but not than anyone knew.
Surprised.
So, but that's what when you're so in it, sometimes you get lost in it that you kind of lose it altogether. But that's where experience comes into play, where you know how to kind of cover it up, and then nobody really knows. But that's only if you're doing a solo, that too. So if you're in a solo, then you can improvise and figure it out. But if you're in a group piece, then it becomes difficult. So I've not really messed up in a group piece, but I've messed up during solos. So thankfully.
Well, that's amazing. Like, not amazing, but like even the best dancers forget. My goodness.
Indeed. They do.
Well, I sort of come back to my first question when I asked, like, was it a born talent that you had missed? But now we're talking about dancers in general. Do you think, like, to be a dancer, you must have a born talent? Do you believe in such?
Well, I mean, you could be born with a certain talent, but if you don't practice it and pursue that talent, then you won't be a good dancer or a good painter or a good singer. So it's not just enough being born with a talent. I feel that you have to be able to work towards a certain goal, and if you want to be the best, then there's a certain amount of commitments that you have to make, sacrifices you have to make. So I think, answering your question, I think just being born with the talent is not enough, for sure.
So, Miss, during your time of teaching, I'm sure you've had about thousands of students. From those, did you have any favorites? And if yes, what were the funniest things they've done?
Favorites, every student is special, but of course your favorites are the ones who actually listen to you and do what you say, ask them to do. But everybody comes after a certain age. You do something like
They
dance
grow
because
up.
you love to do it, right? Not because, maybe when you're 7 or 8, your parents bring you and they want you to dance, so you're forced to do it or whatever. But after a certain age, when you're an adult or you do it because you love to do it. So I think then everybody has the passion within to do it. So then there's no special student because everyone's there for a reason, and they're also working towards a certain goal, and they want to achieve something. So you have to focus on everyone, but not everybody is going to be perfect. So then you have to focus on each person in different ways and give them attention in different ways. So in that sense, I can't say that I've had favorites, but again, like if they do what I say, then and nail it, then they're my favorite.
They're above everyone else. But what about the funniest things they've done?
Funniest things. So during performances, I think we've had a lot of fun. Where in between rehearsals, and even at the theatre when we're doing a dress rehearsal. Obviously during the rehearsal it's a very serious work, and during even at the dance school when we have the rehearsals on stage, it's very serious. Nobody's allowed to fool around. But after that we do get together, and everybody we eat and drink, and we have a lot of fun together, the students and the teachers.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so we have little we have our cast parties, and I can't pinpoint like one funny thing that someone did, but the kids are always up to no good. So they're always making fun of you, or trying to especially my nephew, my cousin's son, is always trying to fool around with me. So they're also now the 4th generation.
Oh, wow.
Who are now dancing, but again we don't know if they would continue it as a profession. Again, they're free to do what they love to do, because my cousin's son is actually he's very talented in so many things. Like I was only good at dancing in one sense, but he loves acting, and he loves dancing, and he loves playing basketball and swimming and so many things, and so he has many options to choose from. So because of that, you can't force someone to do one thing.
I agree.
You're so talented. It's always fun to work with the kids, and I enjoy that.
That was really amazing. It was amazing to me to listen to. Well, moving on, I'm sure many of us, and I've had it, stage fright, the thing we dread the most. So, Miss, have you had stage fright before?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
Stage fright is always there, but that's also one thing that kind of pushes you to do better, because you're really gutted, and sometimes you're just having like butterflies in your stomach, but that's what's exciting for me also, in one sense, that that feeling of having butterflies in your stomach, and being gutted to like you're going to do this, but there's also that little restraint of no, maybe I'm going to play it safe. So there's that you want to push yourself, you're going to play it safe. So it's a you're kind of in an in-between space. But that's also what's exciting for me about a performance, and what I miss a lot these days because of the pandemic. We haven't really performed in a long time. That excitement of a performance, and that stage fright, and all of that. So yes, I do have stage fright.
So that really did help you come to the point where you are right now, like
yeah, because in one sense, you kind of get on that stage, and after you get on the stage, it's just until you get on stage that you have that, and after you get on there, and maybe after the first piece or so, then your stage kind of becomes the world. Like it's a different space altogether, and it transports you into a different world. So, and you kind of forget that you're in Colombo, or you're inside a theater, or you're on Earth, or it almost feels like heaven. Because
you're
not
parallel universe.
Exactly. So you're not able to see the audience also. So because it's all dark. So once you get on stage, then it's you're kind of,
it's nothing.
Yeah, transported into a different space altogether, and then you just kind of ease out there. So which I love.
So, Miss, what has dancing taught you throughout your life?
I mean, dancing for me is, I think, life itself, because if you ask me, like, there isn't a day that doesn't revolve around my dance. So even if it's a Sunday, like, either you're talking about something related to it, or reading about something related to it. So it's always, you're always in it, and when your family is also part of it, there's no escape basically, because even your holidays, you're talking about dance. So really,
what plans you have up next, right?
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. So I mean, I can't quite disconnect dance from my life.
It's always going to be with you.
Yeah,
it's never going to leave.
And I don't really mind that. But I think what it has taught me is, it's made me a stronger person for sure, because of what kind of willpower you need to go through this kind of training. It's really made me a stronger person. Like I said, I'm not a big foodie, so I know my body is not that strong in the sense of nutrition and all that, but I know my mind is. So, and that's what keeps kind of pushing me. Yeah, definitely to be a stronger person, and because you need a lot of willpower to go through a training. Like what we do, and like I told you before, like nutrition wise, I don't think my body is that fit and strong, but I know in my mind my mind is very strong, so that's what keeps pushing me. So being a strong person, and definitely being humble and being respectful to your teachers, your elders, because we draw a lot from our elders. We watch them, they act as examples to us of how we should be as dancers or artists. And even from the rituals, we draw a lot from our ritual dancers. So we give them a lot of respect, and that's another thing, that being humble and respectful to your elders, because you really learn a lot from them, and we are who we are because of them, because of how our earlier generations have been and have taken this legacy forward, and the way they have taken this legacy forward. So being humble and respectful, and also I think in one sense the kind of discipline it has given my life, in terms of how you are as a person. I mean, discipline wise, I mean, I have a lot to work on, obviously, but because the cleanliness and the clarity that is in my dance, I have to still work on when it comes to my day-to-day life. But it definitely got me thinking, and so doing things in a certain way, and having some kind of method to the madness. So those are things I think of, and I always kind of work towards to improve. So those are things that my dance has made me think of, not like somebody taught me through a book or things. So it's what I've learned through being a part of dance and being, dance being a part of my life, basically. So.
Well, that was, I mean, I'm sure I said this too many times, but that was really inspiring once again. And, I think I'm sort of ready to start learning some techniques. My aunt is a teacher of dance. I mean,
nice.
no, not a teacher, like she did dance.
Okay.
So I think I'm ready. I was never interested, but I think I'm ready. I'm just gonna get some tips. But so, what tips do you have for me? No, not for me, but like for beginners. Like just beginners. I'll just take that as you said. I'll just think that you told.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think just having fun doing what you do, because I mean, when I was your age, I had a lot of fun learning to dance and I loved it. And if I was asked to dance every day, if I had to cut school and dance every day, I would have done it, right? So you have to enjoy what you're doing, basically. And later on, if you want to do it as a profession and take it on as a career, then it becomes serious, and then there's a certain way that there's a certain discipline that you have to follow and training method that you have to follow very rigidly and like intensely. And but until then, I think just have fun doing what you're doing, because you have to love what you do. Otherwise, I don't think you can do what you're doing anyway, whatever it may be, dance or anything, I feel. So, as if you're just starting to learn dancing, then definitely, find some. It has to be something that you enjoy and love doing. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think I'm going to keep that in my head and not forget this time because I forget. But, throughout this interview, of course, you answered my questions that I was dying to know. And I really felt it was from your heart. Like, it was not scripted, it wasn't really staged actually, because, of course, I enjoyed listening to what you had to say and seeing everything, like learning everything that I've learned so far from you, Miss. I can never take that again from anyone else. It's really valuable to me. Well, I think it's time we end this interview. This was an amazing interview with Miss Thaji, of course. A big round of applause for her. And it's Himal Hasaranga signing out.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.